Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
Yes, the rhythm, the rebel. Until we overthrow the whole system, we can't settle. The call for revolution echo from ghetto to ghetto. At the protest, fists in the air, ready to explode. Out in the streets with the people, feel the spirit. I put it in the music, I put it in the lyrics. I've been on this conscious, been speaking political. Bum rush the sounds, I made 5 years ago. Never revolution, still marching to the beat. No justice, no peace, defund the police. Breonna Taylor, killer, still free. Like people hanging from trees, huh? We are the change that we seek. Now come on. Yeah.
In your life. It's dark in here. Go ahead, your life. Yeah, I'm trying to find my light. I'm trying to find my light, and I can't find it. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yay, we did it. We figured it out. We figured it out, and it's gonna work all right, even though this is super nerve-wracking. Thanks for being here for the first show for Carol for Council 2020. Thank you all for being here. This is the first, as I said, web show that we're gonna do to keep people informed about what's going on the campaign trail, and also to just find out what's going on in the neighborhood and around the country. We're gonna hear from experts in their fields. We're gonna talk about different ballot initiatives, protecting your own ballot. We're gonna talk about all of the things, and then we're gonna hear from you all. So I appreciate the support for the folks who encouraged me to do this and thought it was a good idea, even though I'm having second thoughts. It's a way for people to get in touch with me and stay in communication during COVID. We're having to find a bunch of new ways to have conversations, to talk to people, to hear their needs and concerns. And this is one of the ways that we're gonna do it. Today, we're gonna talk to a very, very special person, an amazing organizer, someone that everybody should know. And if they don't, you're gonna find out here. This young woman is someone that I look up to and makes me feel comfortable about moving into a different phase of organizing in my life, because I know some things are going to be taken care of when we're talking about pushing on power and changing the existing status quo to make life better for everybody. So I'm not going to spend too much time deliberating. I'm going to welcome Isha Clark. Isha!
Hello. Hi!
What's
Wow, what
up?
an intro.
I
I was
can't
like,
hear
is that
her.
oh, no. You can't hear me? Hold on.
Let's see. I'm definitely not the techie here.
Can you hear me
Looks
now?
like
Their mic isn't connected, it says on.
it says your mic isn't connected, honey bunny.
Oh no. You can't hear me right now?
I wish you knew sign language.
Hold on 1 second.
Wait. Claire can hear Isha.
Should we switch to Claire?
Nope.
I'm gonna switch.
That's okay. Yeah, we're gonna.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Let me try Claire instead.
But your curls are popping though.
But she can. I don't know why I can't do it. Let me try. I don't know. Do you have a pair of earbuds with you?
I do.
Let's switch to that.
Yeah, Claire.
He's on instead of this. No, okay, this one I think.
Sure, whatever works.
Can you hear me now? Okay, but now I can't hear you. Technology. You're muted though. Can you try unmuting yourself? There we go. Now I can hear you. Woo! I was like, I was literally just on this platform this morning. Like, don't fail me now for Mama Carol, because I would be mad at the tech.
Exactly,
Hello.
exactly. Thank you. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Today was quite a day.
Talk about it. Why was today quite a day?
Well, I just started working full time with Youth versus Apocalypse, which is crazy because, going from seeing it be this really small thing to this really amazing, powerful organization is crazy. But, working from home is crazy. And, my mom says it's not working from home, it's living at work, which is true. And it's true for organizers always, but just especially right now. So that happened. And then I got into like a car accident a little while ago and it was just not good. But I'm here. Yeah, it was a little fender bender. Someone ran into the back of me. But it's all right. Yes, I'm okay. No injuries. The car is fine. So I feel good. I'm on it. It could have been a lot worse.
Well, I'm happy that you're here. So thank you for joining us today.
Of course. Of course. I got to do it.
So tell us a little bit about your full-time work. Who is Youth versus the Apocalypse? I mean, I know, but tell everyone who is Youth versus the Apocalypse.
Yes. So Youth versus Apocalypse actually started around 2017 as a campaign called Youth versus Coal. And we were a group of a bunch of young students of color who were fighting Phil Tagami, this huge developer in Oakland who was at the time and still is trying to build a coal terminal through West Oakland, District 3. And so we were pressuring him to stop that, and we grew into this organization called Youth versus Apocalypse. And now we do mostly climate justice work, whatever that means. And I say that because we really believe that, or know that, the climate crisis is a result of these foundational systems of white supremacy and colonialism and very violent and exploitative practices of capitalism. And so because of that, the work of climate justice is to dismantle those systems of oppression in every way that they exist, whether that be through environmental racism or the climate crisis, or it be through our faulty education system, or through policing, or through, mass incarceration, whatever that may be. And so climate justice is really about fighting for collective liberation and fighting to create a world with a foundation of equity and justice and sustainability rather than violence and white supremacy and colonialism.
Yeah, it's like the exploitive nature of white supremacy and how it shows up in the environment. And when we say environment, you mean all space, not just not just the land, not just the air, but all spaces like what you just listed. That's awesome. So say more about like apocalypse. That's not hyperbolic. Why youth versus the apocalypse? Why not anything a little nicer? Isn't that kind of a bit much?
Right. And you know what? It's so crazy because when we started 3 years ago, everyone thought that. Every time we would introduce ourselves, people would be like, whoa, okay, and like laugh a little bit. But you know,
Really?
now we're living, yes, but now we're living in this time that is truly apocalyptic. Like we're living through the threat of climate change is becoming more and more urgent every day, but we're experiencing this pandemic and the way that it spread because of our lack of leadership and really the way that it heightened the racial disparity in this country. We're experiencing this economic downturn. There's wildfires everywhere. The smoke is crazy. There's hurricanes. And, you know, not all of those things are directly related to climate change, but they are all certainly things that will continue to happen more and more as the climate crisis becomes worse. And so that's why our name is Youth versus Apocalypse, because that's what we're fighting here. And people are finally starting to experience that, which is unfortunate, but it's the reality.
Oh, I'm going to come back to that because you just said something I say all the time. People are finally realizing it, something that you've been prophetic about, even in the name of your organization, like apocalypse. No, like it's coming. No, it's here. I just got back from Sacramento with 3-digit temperatures and driving to Sacramento on both sides of the freeway. It was just black. It was charred. It was black everywhere. All of the hills that are typically rolling green or sometimes gold was just charred black because of the fires that came through. And it was still raining ash. And I'm like, if this is not an apocalypse, I don't know. The sky was, it was like nuts. It was like straight out of a movie. So what do you say to folks who are now understanding what you're saying about, you know, we need to be active now. It is imperative now. What are things that people should be doing and what are things people should know about around some of the work you do?
Well, the first thing that I will talk about locally is the Oakland Climate Action Plan, which it just got passed by a city council. And now what we have to do is we have to get the funding for it. And we have to make sure that it actually gets put into motion. And the people of Oakland are calling for us, yes, take some notes, to defund the police in order to fund the Oakland Climate Action Plan, or the Oakland Equitable Climate Action Plan. I can't believe I'm blanking on the technical name for it, but the idea is to, and this is the idea of defunding the police, as I know that you know, but for the listeners, I will just put it out there that the idea is that there is no reforming a system of policing that is born out of slavery. And so what we need to do is to take the funding out of the police to eventually abolish the police and to put that money into the community so that the community can build health clinics and job development and put it into schools and mental health resources and cleaning up our environment and putting in climate action plans in plan. So that's one of the biggest things. But I think that really, you know, it's hard for me to lay out specific plans or specific things that every person can take, because everyone is in a different position of power and in a different, situation in general. And so what I will say is that you need to fight to educate yourself, to educate your community about these foundational systems, about history, learning how we've gotten to this place, because this is not new. everything that we're seeing right now is just an elevated, heightened version of things that communities have been experiencing forever. So educate yourself, educate your community, and fight for whatever will give communities power to make decisions, to make communities self-determine. I think that that is the solution, to listen to the people who have been most marginalized and silenced by these gross systems, and not even listening, but following the leadership.
Right. I appreciate you saying that too, because I actually kind of went a little ham at the Moms for Housing action recently at the Board of Supervisors office. And I think it's been building up because people keep saying we have to reimagine policing. We have to reimagine public safety. And I'm like, or we could listen to the people who've been working on these issues for decades, or we could follow the lead of individuals who have deeply invested time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into creating a framework so we don't have to imagine a life that recognizes our humanity. We can do that. So it's making me cringe a little bit every time I start to hear people say, well, let's have a town hall about reimagining policing. Like, we don't reimagine anything. What we need to do is fund, just like with the Oakland Equitable Climate Action Plan, fund action. See, that's why I was taking notes. Actually keep us healthy and safe so that we can thrive in our communities. And I know that's the work that you've been doing. Isha is like a dynamo energizer bunny. I'm trying to tell her, like, it's so crazy. I see myself in her. And it's an honor because I'm like, dang, she's everywhere. She does everything. She's like super active. And I'm inspired when I see you show up on the scene. And I'm just like, but don't, because I know it's easy to burn out when your heart is really, really big and people are looking to you to be a voice that they don't think they have. And I think our job as organizers is to give people the tools so that everyone is developing their own personal leadership. So what are some of the ways that you take care of yourself so you're not doing all of the things?
That is a great question. And I really appreciate you. I look up to you so much, and I feel so honored to have you as a mentor and a human in my life, just to put that out there. And ways that I take care of myself. You know, this is a really interesting question in this moment, because I feel like my answer to this has changed and is changing now, because, you know, I think self-care in this time looks different because our environment is just so different, both externally and internally inside of our homes. You know, I used to do 1,000,001 things and I would be all over the place. And now I'm kind of doing that, but I don't leave where I'm from. Like, I'm sitting in my room the whole day, entering all of these different universes, staring at a computer screen. And that is so draining, and is just a different thing to live in and to cope with. And so I've been trying to give myself time off the screen. I've really been trying to read more. I just started reading The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn.
Look at you.
Which is, yeah, I know. I was like, I gotta get woke.
More?
Right.
Even more?
It never stops. It never stops. But you know what? I have to say, it's kind of hard to read stuff like that, because like my time to read is at night, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to hear about this before I go to bed. Like, this is traumatizing. But it's important. I've been trying to meditate and, you know, stuff like that. But I think, to be honest, like, I'm still, you know, figuring out what self-care means for me during this time.
Well, we know that it's a revolutionary act. And my last question for you today, Isha, is if you had the perfect electoral leadership for your district, the district where we have the coal terminal, the district where we have a community that's surrounded by freeways, a district where the life expectancy for a Black child born in the flats is 15 years shorter for a white child born in the hills, what would you want that elected official to do?
I mean, simply, I would just want that elected official to tell the truth and to fight for the people, because human beings make mistakes. But the problem with elected officials is that they will never admit their mistakes, and they will never sit back and listen and do what's right. So tell the truth. I mean, and fight for the people. Put us in homes and give us healthcare and give us education that is truth telling and that is relevant to us and our experiences. Clean up our air, clean up our water, like allow us, fight for us to have a community in which we can not only survive but thrive.
Oh my goodness. This is, listen, I feel so hopeful, even in the face of an apocalypse. I feel hopeful with leaders like you on the scene. I feel hopeful being able to retire a certain portion of my activism. And I look forward to a future where you're helping other people find their power. Isha Clark, thank you for being with us. You are a ray of sunshine. I love you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you.
Thank you. I love you so much. And I believe that you will do all of those things that I said.
And I am not perfect, but I am eternally accountable. And
That's right.
And I promise that. So thank you.
I love you so much. Thank you for having me on.
We'll have you again. We'll have you again. All right. Talk to you soon. Isn't she amazing? And now the phenomenal Claire Lau is going to teach us and take us to school about how we are protecting our ballots. Claire Lau is a dynamo. She was the field. What was your official title for the Bernie campaign?
I started out as the Bay Area field director, and then I was promoted to Bay Area director for the March primary in California here. And then I went on to become the New York State deputy director for a period of time until the campaign ended. But super, super excited that you're running, Carol. And I completely agree with you that, you know, it's been some really dark times. It's been really hard to keep hope going, but people like you and Isha really give me hope for the future, because, you know, we've seen the younger generation really step up, the community really stepping up and coming out and participating and taking back our government. So I'm really excited about that.
And let's just say that the campaign has transformed, and the tentacles are working through other down ballot races. Let's just say that the campaign maybe didn't end. We're shifting gears and working through spaces. And so, can you lace us up a game? Claire is brilliant, right? Claire is one of the people that I go to when I have questions about hard stuff. Brilliant, amazing mind. Someone I aspire to be like, just by how you're able to manage like hundreds, if not thousands of people, but just keep up with all the information and the data. So can you lace us up with like this whole ballot game? I know we had to do the same thing for the primaries. It's like follow our ballots, make sure we are registered, make sure that we're getting them in the mail. What should we know?
Absolutely. So this time around is going to be even more important than the primary, because we have COVID going on. You know, obviously it's going to be much more difficult to go to the polls in person and do things in person. So first of all, most important thing is make sure you're registered to vote. That's the first step. You can register to vote online. Everyone can register to vote online until October 19th. The earlier the better, because the earlier you do it, if there are any problems, you can go and check to make sure that, you know, you can resolve the problem. So you can register to vote online at registertovote.ca.gov. And maybe somebody will be able to put that in the chat. And then you can also check your voter registration status. So if you're not sure if you registered to vote, maybe if you've moved a few times, you're not sure if you're registered at your latest address, you can go to voterstatus.sos.ca.gov. I'm going to say that again, voterstatus.sos.ca.gov. That's where you can check your voter registration status. You can check which party you're registered at. You can check which address you're registered at, just to make sure that it's the most updated information. So if you've moved recently, make sure you register at your newest address. That's super, super important. If you are registering to vote online, and if you have an ID with the DMV, you're all set. You can register online. You should be good to go. Just make sure to check your registration status, make sure it went through. If you do not have a signature on file with the DMV, you may need to look for a piece of mail that's going to come in the mail, and you're going to have to sign it and send it back. So if you don't have a signature on file with the DMV, if you don't have a California ID or driver's license, just be sure to register online and look out in the mail. You'll have to sign that piece of paperwork and return it to make sure that your voter registration goes through. Now, once you're registered to vote, right now, because of COVID, the governor has put out an executive order that everybody should be getting a vote by mail ballot. However, this is going to be the first time where everyone is supposed to get a vote by mail ballot. And, sometimes the elections offices, they get overwhelmed. It's the first time they do something. Things get, may fall through the cracks. So it's really important that you look out for your ballot. They should start arriving on October 5th. October 5th is when the ballots start arriving. And so usually they arrive within the first week. If it doesn't arrive within the first week, I would say call up the Alameda County of Elections office. Make sure that, ask about the status. I would say that if you don't get it by October 19th, call them up immediately. If they can't resolve it, you may want to even go there in person. Another way to see where your ballot is at is to track your ballot. So you want to be knowing when your ballot is getting to you. And once you've filled it in, you also can track what the status of it is, if it has been received, if it has been counted. So yes, and that's the phone number for the Alameda County Elections Office. Make sure you give them a call if you don't receive your ballot. Now, in order to track your ballot, they've rolled out a new website, a new tracking website. Hopefully it works well. This, I think, is the first time they've rolled it out. But it's where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov. If you go there, it's where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov. You can see whether your ballot has been mailed to you. Then if you've mailed it back, you can see if it has been received, and then you can see if it has been counted. So it's really important, first of all, make sure as soon as you receive your ballot, fill it in and mail it out early. Because as we've seen, the Postal Service has been really overwhelmed. Trump's government has been cutting funding. It's been really difficult to get things through the mail. There are a lot of delays. So make sure you mail it out as early as you can. I would even say if it's 1 week before Election Day, you may want to just go in person and drop it off. Usually the county elections office has a drop-off location. So, put on your mask, go there and drop it off, because you don't want to risk it getting to the elections office after Election Day. Then after you turn it in, make sure you're tracking your ballot. So there's where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov. You can keep track. You can see if it has been counted or not. If you can see if there are problems with your ballot, because sometimes if the signature doesn't match or you've forgotten to sign it, sometimes the county elections office may say, oh, we're not going to count this ballot. So if there are any issues, then you check online, you see that there are issues, you can give them a call, If you need to go in person, you can go in person to fix the issue. So say, there was no signature or somehow the signature didn't match, then you can go in and you can, bring your ID, make sure that that gets fixed. So bottom line is make sure you're registered to vote.
Registered.
Make sure you track your ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you get it in the mail. Make sure you go track your ballot so that your vote is counted. That is the most important things. And there's the link, whereismyballot.sos.ca.gov. Really important. And make sure to do everything early, because if there's a problem when it's early, you can go in, you can fix it. If you do it last minute, it may not get to the elections office in time. If there are problems, it may be running too late to fix them. So vote early, make sure you're registered, and then check your ballot status. Super, super important. And of course, stay safe.
Stay safe. Key. Stay safe. And I think it's going to be important. I know you typed all of this up for me recently. We can send it out to all of our volunteers and folks in the community so they have access to these resources. It is so critical, not just for the presidential election, but for all of the down ballot races as well. Those are critical races that we need to be paying attention to. And yeah, I think, Claire, the information that you've given is really, really critical for us to be able to participate and have our voices heard. Have you heard anything about in San Francisco, Oakland, the Bay Area, anywhere about mailboxes being not available or drop boxes not being available? What have you heard about any of the systems that we can use to drop off our mail-in ballots?
So you can definitely put them in mailboxes. I haven't really heard about changes lately myself, but you can drop it in a regular mailbox, and that will be going through the Postal Service. Again, there might be delays. So if you're running to very near the deadline, you may want to just bring it into the county elections office. In San Francisco, I know that they have ballot boxes that are actually administered by the Department of Elections. They only have a few here. I think Alameda County has a bunch as well. If you drop them off at those locations, it's basically directly in the hands of the elections office. So that is probably the even safer way than going through Postal Service, just because there might be delays. So you're running out to the wire. That would be recommended. I would recommend going onto the Alameda County Elections website to just look up all of the different locations where they have ballot boxes. And then you can also, go to the actual location of the county elections office as a last resort if you're really running down to the wire to deliver it in person.
That is awesome. I think we're probably going to get a lot of questions about this, because it sounds like for people who may not be aware of the new processes with the vote by mail system and being 100% vote by mail, we're probably going to have to do a lot of outreach as organizers to let people know about the changes. And we'll probably have to do a frequently asked questions sheet so that we can be able to go out to where people are and let them know. So we will definitely get that up on our website and send it out to folks as well.
Yeah, and that's also why it's so important for everyone to be volunteering, because not only do you need to learn how to vote yourself, but you need to be turning out and telling your family members, your friends, your neighbors how to vote. And so by volunteering yourself, you're actually empowering other people to not only vote for Carol, which of course we all want to, but you're also teaching them how to participate in the process of voting, in the democratic process. So it's really important for everyone to be involved, to volunteer for the Get Out to Vote efforts.
This was an amazing lesson. I'm not in school anymore. I miss it. So thank you for taking us and teaching us in your classroom right now, Claire. And are there any other words you want to leave us with? Anything else we need to know?
Just that, you know, with organizing, with people power, we can take on the corporations, we can take on the establishment. So all we need to do is just to put in the work and to talk to people, to spread the word, and people power will win. So,
Tell Claire, people power will win. Thank you. And thank you for spending time with us today. We're going to talk to our some of our volunteers for a second, but I appreciate your knowledge and your wisdom, always your expertise, and we'll be in touch. I appreciate it
so much.
All right, bye. Okay, so you know what we're gonna do today, boys and girls and siblings? We're gonna go to a phone bank and talk to some of our volunteers that are on the campaign trail and find out how our phone banking is going. How are things? Oh, do you all want to see who's on with me today? We have Marissa and John and Sarah and Carol. So how's the phone banking going, y'all?
It's good.
It's great, yeah.
It's great. What are you hearing on the phones? I see this big ring light is all in my face. What are you hearing from people on the phones?
I'm hearing, I think a lot of people care a lot about housing and your housing work. That's really inspirational and important for folks.
Anything else? What are other folks hearing? What about you, Sarah?
I'm hearing a lot of support for you, which is amazing. I get a lot of very excited callers when I say I'm calling from your campaign. So.
Oh, wow. I saw that on Twitter the other day. I was like, oh my God, somebody said that they were feeling sad and depressed. And then they got a call from a phone banker about my campaign and it made them feel better. I was like, this is unreal. This is unreal. But I guess that's why we're doing it, to make things better for people, right? So
I just talked to someone in my building who was like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm voting for Carol.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, they got to get 10 other people. They got to get 10 other folks. I don't have the name ID and the recognition that an incumbent might have, so we got to get the word out. And so I am so eternally grateful for you all taking time out of your lives, out of your schedules, to be doing what you're doing today, and volunteering in this way. This is what it's going to take to win. Everybody getting on the phones. We started early, so we have a little bit of an advantage, but we need that because we're not corporately funded. We don't have big backers. It's just us. It's just grassroots folks who care about their community. And that's who you all are. So I just wanted to get on personally and say thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, this is how we win. It's just these things that we do every single day and we do consistently. John, you want to tell us anything about what you're hearing on the phones?
I am new, so I'm just getting started. I haven't heard a whole lot. I've just joined forces with my two leaders.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, so we got a newbie. Yay. Well, I hope you have lots of fun. I'm going to get on and make some calls pretty soon too. So thank you all for joining us today. I'm going to see if I can scroll through. And
thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol.
No problem. Thank you so much. Next week, we're going to be doing it again. What time is it? It's 7:06. Yeah, folks can join and get engaged. They can email us at volunteer@carolfife.org to get engaged and to make phone calls or find out ways to talk to people about this new vision, this transformed district that we're trying to build collectively. There's a lot of things that you can do. Right now, we have to be creative about how we do outreach. And a lot of it will be done neighbor to neighbor. So have you talked to your neighbors today? Have you just written a little note and snuck it on their doorstep? So many ways that we need to reach folks. You can text, you can call, you can email, get into your networks. And even if they don't live in the district, they can help and contribute. There are a lot of folks who are impacted by unemployment because of COVID. So if you're not able to give financially, then please, please, please give of your time. We're trying to create a model for what we want to see in our everyday realities. And we're all a part of that. We all play a role, every single one of us, no matter what we look like, no matter our abilities, we all have a role to play in creating our reality. So I want to once again give a shout out to the volunteers. Right now, we have a volunteer army of over 400 people that are have stepped up and contributed and said, hey, I want to be a part of this movement. And they've gone to our website to sign up. And we need every single one of those 400 folks to do outreach, right? We got a lot of folks on the phones. We need everybody. We need everyone to do, you know, be a little, step out of your comfort zone. This is what I'm doing right in this moment right now. I'm so uncomfortable, but I feel confident because I'm doing it for a purpose. I can step out of what's comfortable for me because I'm doing it for a purpose that is so much bigger than me. And I think you all know that. So I'm going to see if there's some people who want to ask me some questions through the chat. So I'm going to go to my producer and see if there's anything that I need to be answering. Yay! So I'm not sure exactly what the future will hold. I don't know what the post-COVID reality will look like for the city of Oakland, but I do know that I have a vision for working with you all to create what that is. I have a vision for what Isha talked about earlier today. I have a vision for what it looks like to divest from a police budget that doesn't actually keep us safe. People get really, really, really confused about, like, what are you saying? Like, have no police? And here's my perspective. Under capitalism, we have an aggressive and predatory system where people have to compete in order to survive. They have to compete in order to have any kind of decent life. And what that creates is predators who take advantage of people who do not have that, like, killer mindset. Even our language, even the words that we use are based on war and attacking. Like, we're gonna fight crime. We're going to create a war on drugs. All of the words that we use are based in this violent concept that comes from having to compete and fight for your existence. And so I want to create a vision where that's not the reality. We're going to have to change our entire paradigm in order to build that, and it will take time. And in the meantime, I believe that we need to have community safety patrols in the same way that the Community Ready Corps engages community now. It's an organization of people who care about their neighborhoods, that make sure that people are safe. You've seen folks in the community, you've seen them at marches, you've seen them at rallies, making sure people are secure. You see them around me a lot of times because of all of the threats of violence that I've received over the last couple months and going into a year now, specifically as an outgrowth of our work around Moms for Housing. There are a lot of people who think that we should not have any kind of society that's different than what currently exists. They want to keep things exactly as they are. I don't feel that way. And there are other people like me who also feel differently. And so we need to create that reality. So while I do not think that we can just completely get rid of officers right now, I also believe that we need to be on the road to creating a completely different paradigm. But we also have to deal with the conditions that have been created under this capitalist, oppressive, white supremacist system. That's the reality. And we're not going to be able to deal with it with individuals who have a mindset that Black is a threat. Just the color of our skin is a threat. We're seeing uprisings all over the country because people are done with officers just killing people. When I say divest, I mean we need to take money out from that racist system that allows us to invest in things that truly keep us safe, like all of the things Isha listed: education, healthcare, environmental remediation from all of the toxins that are in our air and water and land. But I'm not going to go into all the details. You all know me, and I'm going to put it on my website so you can know me even more. And then we're going to have these conversations every Thursday. So I'm going to take a couple questions.
When you push the disarm traffic costs, people getting pulled over for traffic infractions, so necessitate the officer disarmed.
I completely agree. That is legislation that they're working on in Berkeley right now. There should not be armed officers pulling people over, right? It's one of the ways that, you know, people are typically racially profiled and killed, because these officers who are so scared, they're so afraid for their lives, is, you know, what they typically say, that any kind of furtive movement results in an execution. That is literally what's happening right now, the execution of residents. And so, no, I do not believe that officers should be armed. I even think that we should look at having civilian, like people who are trained in traffic safety and the different ways that, you know, we would otherwise think we need officers for traffic stops to be able to do that work. They're doing it in Berkeley. We can do it in Oakland. So yes. How are we going to protect Oakland residents from evictions? Well, right now, Oakland has some of the strongest eviction protections in the country. And 45 did just recently pass a nationwide eviction moratorium that will last throughout the year. But in the reality, Oakland is stronger and has more protections for renters. So right now we are technically covered in the city of Oakland and in the county of Alameda. So we're somewhat safe, but we're not 100% safe, because sometimes unscrupulous landlords will still engage in illegal evictions. So we have to be aware of that, and we have to be organized. And if you don't know how to do that, I definitely urge you to reach out to some organizations who do. ACE Action is one of the organizations that teaches people how to organize and work collectively to protect against evictions. But there's lots of organizations in Oakland, and lots of really outstanding legal professionals who help in those situations too. So the law plus organizing is a model that we suggest to get, you know, to make sure that you're safe. So we're somewhat protected right now.
One more?
Yeah, I'll take one more.
Okay. How will you support cannabis businesses in Oakland? Second part.
How would I protect cannabis businesses in Oakland? There are absurdly high taxes, barriers to entry for equity applicants, permit delays. So I actually did organize. I did the grassroots organizing to pass the equity permit program. And so I worked on that for about, I don't know, gosh, maybe 6 months with Councilmember Desley Brooks. And evictions and eviction protections start really taking up a lot of my attention. Some of my members were potentially losing their homes. So I dove back into a lot of the housing organizing. But I would like to hear from folks that I know and trust, like Cheney Turner and Tracy Corder, who are deeply involved in the cannabis industry, to say what is actually needed. I don't pretend to know everything, and I've been out of the cannabis loop for a second. So I would need to follow the lead of folks that are trying to get into the business that has been so difficult, especially for Black and brown folks to get into. So I would have to definitely follow the lead on individuals who are steeply entrenched right now, so they can tell me what needs to happen so I can be the proper advocate. How can people get involved in your campaign? Holla! Once again, you can email us at volunteer@carolfife.org. And our people will get out to you. They'll give you a call, set up a time to have a one-on-one conversation and figure out how to get you plugged in. You could also give us a call. We're at 510-255-0236. That's how you get in touch with our scheduler, who can get you directly talking to somebody if you can't wait for an email. But either way, we're gonna get you plugged in. You can follow us at all of our social media @, I think that's what the young people call them. So we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. I think the young people are supposed to be getting me on Snapchat. I'm not quite sure. I've never used it before, but they're saying it's something that I have to do. So there are multiple ways that you can interface with the campaign and get involved, because it really is about the people. We definitely want to hear from you, especially around cannabis. Like I said, I was super involved, super involved for a minute. And that's going to be super important. So just hit us up and let them know, like, hey, I talked to Carol on her live show, and yeah, she needs to hear from me about this issue. And then we'll get in touch. So thank you for your questions. So if there are no more questions, then I made it through my speakers and some of the public. We're going to call it a day. And we are going to see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Carol for Council 2020. Thank y'all for tuning in. Bye.